Welcome everyone to another edition of Making an Impact. I am your host, Simply Sensational Billy James. Back after a 2-week hiatus. I had to work 1 week, and then the other week I had a birthday I had to go to, plus Mother's Day. But I'm back, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about this week. We had Hardcore War, Team Angle versus Team Young. Who was on each team and who won, we're going to talk about that. Also, it was the first out of the 5 best 3 out of 5 series to determine the new TNA Tag Team Champions. As prior last week, Matt Hardy vacated the titles due to Jeff Hardy's injury. And also tonight we have Brooke Tessmacher, aka Brooke, teaming up with Rebel as they take on Jade and Marti Bell of the Dollhouse. And we have a much more, so let's just go ahead and jump into it. And at the end of the show, I have some pointed comments to TNA haters out there. So you'll have those comments at the end of the show. But let's get right to it right now. Okay, we started out the show with Kurt Angle coming out to the ring, and he brings along the Sarge, Chris Menendez, and thanks for last week for his help toward the end of his world title match against Eric Young. Well, then the Horizon comes out, and Drew McIntyre talks about how they are before professional wrestling, and how one day he wants to get a title shot the right way against Kurt Angle for that title. Eric Young comes out screaming that he is still the #1 contender and that he wants his match. He was screwed last week. He wants his match. He wants it one-on-one. Kurt Angle says, shut the hell up, Young. You're deranged. You're a lunatic. You'll get your match. You'll get the face before the title and I quit match when I decide later down the road. But tonight's Hardcore War. So it looks like Angle's team is in the ring, but then Eric Young motions for his team to come out, and brain fart there. Angle and his team, the Horizon and Chris Menendez, gets attacked by the BDC, the Beatdown Clan, MVP, your X Division champion Kenny King, and Loki. With Young coming in, they take out the Horizon, Mendez, and Angle. But all of a sudden, here comes the Destroyer, Bobby Lashley, who spears Eric Young almost right out of his boots. And we find out later that Lashley will be on Team Angle for Hardcore War. Well, that leaves Young's team one short, but Young says, hey, we may not have Young Homicide, but I've got somebody that can help us. Somebody who's just as crazy as I am. So we'll find out later in the show who the 5th man for Team Young is. And we'll find out what order they come out in. Okay, we have our first match night. Brooke Tessmacher, and Rebel taking on the Dollhouse, Jade and Marti Bell. Let me just say this: I wouldn't want to live in Texas. I'm not a fan of Texas, but I have to say Brooke and Rebel, Brooke and technically Rebel because she lives in Dallas, are about the 2 best exports to come out of Dallas. But anyway, I regress. So let's get to it. Dollhouse goes right to it, attacking Rebel and Brooke before they can get in the ring. And Rebel starts it out for her team, and they just melee, just dominating her. Marti Bell keeps her grounded, not preventing her from making the tag to Brooke. And her and Jade take turns tagging in. Rebel barely can get any offense in whatsoever, and what little offense she gets in, she wastes it, not making the tag to Brooke. After Jade misses a drop kick, Rebel finally tags in Brooke, and Brooke comes in, starts cleaning the house. Jade tries to go for a power bomb, but Brooke is able to reverse it into a face buster. At this point, oh, excuse me, it was actually Marti Bell that she did that to. I'm sorry. But once Marti Bell's vulnerable, Rebel thinks she's composed enough. She gets the tag from Brooke, goes to the top rope, wastes his time, goes for the flying guillotine leg drop, misses. Then Marty and Jade take out Brooke. Then they double choke slam Rebel. 1, 2, 3, your winners, the Dollhouse. And the whole time, your TNA Knockouts champion, Taryn Terrell, was standing outside, ringside, while she didn't interfere in the match. She came in and made it clear, hey, Gail, I had a lovely time with your stepdaughters, and tonight I'm going to show you what I'm going to wear for your husband, Robert. So I say it's going to be interesting. What does Taryn Terrell mean, and what does she have in store tonight? And are we going to see Gail Kim give a response to Taryn Terrell's racy statements? I will say this: it's great. It's kind of good to see Rebel back. She's still green. I think she just got she's got to get some more ring time in and stuff. I think she'll learn, but she's got to get more skills in. Great to see Brooke, best ass in the business, and she freely admits it. It's all about that ass. So, but hopefully we won't see the last of Brooke, and when the feud between this potential feud we're getting to see started up between Gail and Taryn's over, that Brooke will get back into that title picture and become a 3-time TNA Knockouts champion. I'm sure we haven't seen the last of Brooke. Also, another little tidbit of facts that came out through the match, how Josh Matthews mentioned that the menagerie went back to the carnival. So the menagerie is no more. So Rebel is on her own. She's her own character. So that's kind of cool. We'll just have to wait and see how it's going to go. She still does the leg split rope entrance. Yeah, I can live with that. So I kind of like seeing maybe a little more chemistry tagging between Brooke and Rebel. Both got fine asses. It's all about the ass. Or at least that's what Brooke says. So we'll just have to wait and see. And with the influx of more knockouts, could we see the return of the TNA Knockout Tag Team Championships? Would you want to see that? Personally, I think that we're going to need some more knockouts if they ever go that route. Maybe a secondary knockouts title, like a TV title or something like that, would be more feasible than actually having tag team titles. But that's just my thoughts on that. Okay, we had EC3 come down with Tyrus, and EC3 talking about his whole campaign to become the #1 contender and become the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. He makes the comment, while he's been liberal with his views, or conservative with his views and liberal with his fists, he wants to know why he's still not the #1 contender for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, even though he's undefeated, and that he defeated Mr. Anderson last week. Well, Mr. Anderson comes out and interrupts him and tells him, shut the hell up. Yeah, you beat me, but not without Tyrus's help. So I'll tell you what, how about we do this? You, me, one-on-one, no Tyrus, no interference. And he says, I'll make it even more fun. I'll take on Tyrus tonight. If I beat him, I get you in a one-on-one match. EC3 says, yeah, but no. See ya. And then Mr. Anderson directs his comments to Tyrus saying, are you going to be his bitch? Bitch. And keeps it on, nagging him, calling him a bitch. And finally, Tyrus says, I'll show you who's a bitch. And we get a match between Tyrus and Mr. Anderson. Tyrus starts off in control, even though Anderson tries to jump. Dominating. He hits a splash, tries to go for a 1, 2, 3. Hits sort of what looked like a side power bombs, but but it was weird. It was a weird move, but he goes for another pin attempt, can't get it. Anderson tries to make a comeback, tries to hit the mic check, can't do it, and Tyrus blocks it. For whatever reason, EC3 grabs a steel chair and tries to bring it in the ring, but the referee stops him and forces him out of the ring, ejecting him from the match. Tyrus is distracted, and this is where Mr. Anderson plays possum. So when Tyrus turns his attention back and tries to go for a move, Anderson counters, hits the mic check, 1, 2, 3, your winner, Mr. Anderson. So we are going to get another match between EC3 and Mr. Anderson. Will Mr. Anderson be the one to break the undefeated streak of EC3? Or will EC3 remain undefeated and eventually get his title match for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship? Time will only tell. Okay, we had Magnus come down the ring and talk about last week's events with James Storm after he took the guitar that James Storm had given, custom guitar by the way, to Mickie James, and Magnus smashed it into the head of James Storm. Said he doesn't apologize one damn bit for it, and that he's had enough of James Storm and he's ready to compete, and calls the leader of the Revolution out. Well, instead of Storm, we get Abyss, and Abyss says, hey, there's consequences to your actions from last week, and I am the consequences you're going to face. So we have, and don't ask me why they had this type of match, but they did, a barbecue grillers match. Okay, yeah, I've heard of some weird matches, but this takes the cake. I guess it basically means you can use objects that are used for grilling. Abyss goes to town and nails, it gets the offense in first, nailing Magnus with a baking sheet. But then Abyss starts throwing all kinds of barbecue-like objects in the ring. Griller tongs, a grill stand, more baking sheets. So Magnus gets his hands on the grilling tongs and grabs Magnus right in the gonas, and then goes to town with a couple of headshots and such. Then Manic tries to come down to interfere. He gets a little offense in, but Magnus is able to come back and take out Manic. Abyss comes down and nails, Abyss gets back up and is able to nail Magnus in the back with the grilling stand, but it doesn't last for long. Koyai comes down and interferes and nails Abyss with the walking stick. Match ends in a no-win, no contest, and the Revolution beats up Magnus and they stand tall over him. Later in the night, James Storm chews out the members of the Revolution for going out and taking out Magnus. What's up with that? Have no idea. And where was Mickie James, by the way? Good question. This is one match you could probably skip. I don't know who thought this match or this type of match was a good idea. I don't have a problem with it being Abyss and Magnus, but I just find it barbecues grillers match. It just doesn't have a good ring to it. But anyway, if you missed it, it's okay. Not a big deal. But hey, nice to see Magnus getting TV time and at least be treated like a star, like he should be. Maybe he shouldn't have had this type of match, but hey, everybody's got to have a shitty gimmick match every now and then. Okay, we had the first out of the best 3 out of 5 matches between the Wolves, Davey Richards, Eddie Edwards, against the Dirty Heels, the It Factor, Bobby Roode, and the greatest man that ever lived, Austin Aries. And boy, what a match this was. And I can't even do it justice, so I just want to give you the highlights. So just bear with me, because the match started out with Davey Richards and Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode had control of the match early on. He brought in Austin Aries. They kept control until Eddie Edwards got tagged in. It was going back and forth, but it was nice until Eddie Edwards hit Austin Aries with a drop toe hold and then a knee to the back of the head. Roode got the same thing coming in, and that gave the Wolves control of the match. They tried early in the night for a modified force of nature, but Aries was able to count out of it. Roode took a cheap shot on Edwards into the outside ring. Austin Aries took advantage of that and took he just basically flew over the top rope for a splash, and then that gave the Dirty Heels control of the match. It stayed true to the Dirty Heels. Bobby Roode distracted the referee during the match to prevent the Wolves from making a proper tag seen by the ref, and this allowed the Dirty Heels to keep control of the match. Eddie Edwards finally was able to get tagged in, and this was just so good of a match. I'm sorry if I'm stumbling, but he was finally able to get a tag in to Richards, who came in, and he took down both the Dirty Heels. He threw Roode into Aries, and then landed a drop kick that saw Aries inadvertently DDT Roode. The Wolves set up once again for force of nature, but Roode pulled Richards from the top rope, and Aries countered a power bomb into a Hurricane Rana that sent Edwards to the outside of the ring, and that gave the Dirty Heels control of the match. Davey Richards got back in the ring and set up Roode threw Richards back in to set him up for a missile drop kick from Aries. However, Roode whipped Aries toward Richards in the corner. He lands a running drop kick, and it sends Richards into Roode. Roode horses Richards up into a power bomb, but Richards rose through it. 1, 2, 3. The Wolves are 1 up on the Dirty Heels. Great match. I have to tell you, best match of the night. Sorry about that. I was setting something down real quick. But it was to me, it was the best match of the night. Like I said, I did not give it justice in what I just described. This is a match. If you missed it, you've got to go and watch it. This is showing 4 of the best talents in TNA going at it and putting on one hell of a match. And this is the kind of wrestling that we want to see. And TNA is giving it to us in the forms of the Wolves versus the Dirty Heels. Both Aries, Triple Crown champion. Very few in TNA can claim that. Very few. There's some who's close, but Aries is one of the few who can claim it. Aries is one man who has done it. Chris Sabin is another man who's done it. You have Abyss who's done it, but Abyss is also a Grand Slam champion. And in case you're wondering, the other 2 are Samoa Joe, who's a Grand Slam, or other 3, excuse me, who's a Grand Slam champion. Or excuse me, 4. Eric Young's a Grand Slam champion. Of course, AJ Styles, the phenomenal one himself, is a Grand Slam champion and also a Triple Crown champion. And Kurt Angle is a Triple Crown champion. So, hey, we've had some multiples of champions there. Wolves probably one of the best tag teams today going on, but the Dirty Heels show they can just go just as well. So one hell of a match. If you missed it, you gotta go and see it. Okay, Taryn Terrell, Marti Bell, and Jade, the Dollhouse, come down to the ring with Taryn wearing a silk light blue robe and nice stockings, by the way. She comes in the ring and stands in the center of the ring with her TNA Knockouts Championship on her shoulder, saying, "This is our house, the Dollhouse." and that they create fantasies, and that's all they'll be, because you're not getting any more from the Dollhouse. Gail, Terrence says she's more than a knockout, she's more than a wrestler. And then she goes on to talk about the time that she's had with Gail's stepdaughters, and how she and her Gail's stepdaughters have had a great time. And she shows a couple of selfies. And then she goes on to say, but it's nothing compared to the time I'm going to have with Gail's husband, Robert. And then she reveals what she's got underneath that robe. Some hot, sexy lingerie. Oh yeah, I want to play with the Dollhouse. I'm a bad boy. But she goes on to say that she's going to show her, Gail's husband. But before she finishes, Gail comes down, and boy, is she pissed. And Taryn quickly interjects, why you gotta be so serious? Why are you interrupting the Dollhouse's story? Gail rips into Taryn, saying, hey, you want to prove you're better than me? You want to prove you're the greatest knockouts champion? Then prove it in the ring. Quit pulling the crap you're pulling. But Taryn exits on and says, well, you're nothing compared to me, and even your husband Robert knows that. Well, that was all that needed to be said. Gail goes apeshit, and she starts taking out the Dollhouse. They can't keep Gail down. She takes all three of them out, and they scatter out of the ring, and Gail makes it very clear that Taryn's going to pay for her comments, and that that Gail is targeting Taryn and that Knockouts title. I'm kind of digging Taryn's heel turn there. Kind of cool. And hey, who doesn't like hot heel chicks in lingerie? You know, I'm a guy. Thank God my wife was not in the room while that segment was on, because I would never hear the end of it. Hallelujah. But I have to say, damn, Taryn, you look hot in that lingerie. Yeah, very tempting, but yeah, I'm married, so I'm going to be a good boy, because I love my wife. I truly do love my wife, so wouldn't cheat on her. But still, I can look, but I can't touch, so I can look as all as I want. So anyway, interested. So it looks like now we got the feud between Gail Kim and the Dollhouse, specifically targeting Taryn Terrell. Will Gail be the one to take that title off of Taryn Terrell? We got some other knockouts out there who could be in the reigns. You know, returning Velvet Sky, a former Knockouts champion. We also have probably the greatest women's wrestler of all time, Mickie James. What perfect way to retire, by winning the Knockouts title. It's been done in the WWE. Trish Stratus won her 7th title reign as WWE Women's Champion and retired as the champion. Won the belt and retired the next night. But hey, you know, you got another former Knockouts champion, Brooke, who wants to get a title run. And there's some Knockouts that hasn't never been Knockouts champion, Rebel, but I think it would be too soon for Rebel to be going after that title. So when will Gail get her hands one-on-one against Taryn? My bet is going to be Slammiversary, but we'll just have to wait and see. But hey, great segment. You know, it's worth checking out. Okay, we had our match, Broman versus Broman, the breakup of the Bromans. Robbie E taking on Jesse. Match starts out, and before you know it, ba bing, ba boom, Robbie cradles up Jesse, 1, 2, 3, gets the win. Jesse's like, what the hell, I wasn't ready, I wasn't ready. Alright, let's go at it again. You know, they both fist pump each other one more time, and Jesse tries for a move. Robbie counters with a kick to the knee, rolls up Jesse, 1, 2, 3. Again, Robbie E gets the win. Jesse complains and says, look, I was not ready. I didn't have my tights tied. So they go one more time. Robbie, he starts out on the offense, but then Jesse comes back, pulls the tights, sends him head first in turnbuckle, picks him up for a slam, and then, rakes the eyes. And tries for a powerbomb type move, but Robbie gets the crucifix and pins Jesse 1, 2, 3 again. And the funny thing is the third time the fans were counting down the match. Less than a minute. Jesse not happy at all. He viciously attacks Robbie, taking him out, and even uses a chair around the neck, sending Robbie head first into the steel post of the ring with his head in the chair, leaving him laying. Needless to say, the bromans are officially done. Interesting. Robbie E, 3 wins in a row. Looks like Robbie's going to be a face. I like Robbie. Robbie's a nice guy. I met him in 2011 at a house show in Pensacola, Florida. He just came into TNA, and Cookie was his manager at the time. Both of them very cool. Met Robbie again in 2013. This is when he was tagging with Jesse at a house show again in Pensacola, Florida. So, and you had to kind of get like Robbie during his run on the Amazing Race, where he and Brooke came in 4th place. Blew everybody out of the water that they made it that far in the race. A lot of people didn't think they would make it that far. Co-workers of mine who are not wrestling fans, but they watched the Amazing Race, when they heard Robbie and Brooke were in it, they're like, they'd be eliminated, like the third leg of the race. And my immediate response was, "Fuck you and the horse you rode in on." And I was proven wrong by the guys. Brooke and Robbie made it to the Final 4, which was, cool that they made it that far. So, where is this going to take Robbie and Jesse? Are they going to continue the feud? Where's this going to go? I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see. But it looks like for now, Jesse's going to be the face. Jesse's going to be the heel. Robbie's going to be the face. And where does DJZ fit in all this? Or does he go on his own and start, going after that X Division title? We'll just have to wait and see. Okay, we had the main event match, Hardcore War. 2 minute start, and then another man enters every 90 seconds. They can bring 1 weapon with them. And the match officially doesn't start until all 10 men are out. And then the bell rings, anything goes. The only way you can win is by pinfall or submission. And match started out with Loki and Drew Galloway. They then had Kenny King and Micah come out next. Third men out were Eric Young and Kurt Angle, the team captains. Fourth out for each team was MVP and Chris Mendez. I'll get it out in just a second. And the final entries out was Bobby Lashley for Team Angle, and Bram was the mystery man for Team Young. Okay, some crazy stuff during this match. At one point, I think it was Kenny King. Hold on a second. Let me verify that, because I hate telling something that's not true. Because there was a lot of stuff going on. There was just this one amazing move that I want to talk about. Sorry, it was not King King. Eric Young had set Micah up for a superplex, but Galloway comes through and turns it into a suplex and takes out all the men, because Micah was getting ready to be superplexed by Young. He goes into the Beatdown Clan and takes out everybody. This was during the before the match officially got started. One hell of a move. Lashley got in and he was clearing house, hit a nice spear on Bram. He was also able to take out MVP, who was nailing him with the kendo stick, but was able to get away from him. MVP tried to go for the overdrive, but Lashley hit a nice short spear on MVP. At one point, all the guys were outside the ring, and Drew Galloway flies over the top rope and hits a nice plancha and taking everybody down. The match basically came down to Chris Mendez and Eric Young. Eric Young tried to take out Chris Mendez, but Mendez took him out with some clotheslines and hit a nice boot. Went for a back body drop, miss. Eric Young turns around and hits the pile driver. 1, 2, 3, Team Angle wins. But what happened next is what's the crazy part of the match. Eric Young takes this prosthetic leg off of Chris Mendez and starts beating him with it. And then Kurt Angle tries to come in and demand, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing? And then Eric Young turns around and starts beating up Kurt Angle with the prosthetic leg and uses it to choke Angle, demanding him to say, I quit, as Impact Wrestling goes off the air. That is very controversial for them to do something like that. I'm wondering if Chris Mendez signed off on that, because that, to me, is that is borderline bad taste. In one way, yes. Does it make does it get more heat on Eric Young? Yes, it absolutely does. Was it controversial having him choke Angle with that prosthetic leg? Yes. You can take your pick on that. If it was me as creative, I kind of went that angle, but hey, it's controversial, so you know, it's like, oh shit, I can't believe they did that type thing. When will we get Kurt Angle versus Eric Young in an I Quit match? I'm calling it right now, Slammiversary. Could we see a new TNA World Heavyweight Champion then? Very, very, very possible. It is very possible. I look for a match between the Beatdown Clan and the Rising at Slammiversary, some kind of match that will be the send-off of this feud. Very interested. But where does Bobby Lashley fit in all this, and what will Lashley do next is the million-dollar question. Be interesting to see. Another great match. If you missed it, you ought to watch it. It was a good way to end out Impact Wrestling, and it was pretty damn good. You need to check it out. Okay, Superstars of the Week, the Wolves and the Dirty Heels. I just think that was the best match of the night, and they just show what wrestling's all about. So, kudos to Austin Aries, Bobby Roode, Davey Richards, and Eddie Edwards. The Wolves and the Dirty Heels are the Superstars of the Week. Overall, great Impact Wrestling. Despite the silly gimmick match, the barbecue grillers match. Overall, good, solid Impact Wrestling. Good storyline advancement. Good quality matches. And we get to see more development characters, specifically Terry Terrell's new heel character. We get to see more storyline advancement with the James Storm, Magnus, Mickie James angle. Also, the Eric Young, he is ripping it as a heel, and in my opinion, he's the top heel of the company right now. Awesome to see him get this opportunity. At first, I thought it was a big mistake turning him heel, but he took the ball and knocked it out of the park. EC3, this guy was probably one of the most underlined used talent in WWE. They let him go. Got picked up by TNA. They gave him this character. He took the ball and he's ran with it. And I give him kudos for that. So, I mean, from top to bottom, it was a great Impact Wrestling. Great feud advancements and all this. And it's just great to see this all meshed together. Probably, lately, like I said, TNA's been on a roll and they've been trying to keep it that way. So, all in all, good Impact Wrestling. So, let's go ahead and just get the elephant out of the room. It's already been announced there will be no Impact Wrestling next week. They're going to do a special airing. It's probably a condensed version of Slammiversary. Probably only some key matches, not the whole thing from last year, 2014. Why they're not airing a new Impact Wrestling? Supposedly Destination America doesn't want to air a new show on the Memorial Day weekend. I call bullshit on that, but alright. So I'm going ahead and letting everyone know next week there will not be a Making an Impact YouTube show because, you know, I'm not going to review an old 1 year pay-per-view. However, I will do a special Pipe Bomb edition next week, and I'll talk about WWE, TNA, and we'll NXT, and we'll talk about Fallout from Elimination Chamber and Payback. So now let me get to my little tirade. I read, you know, on several different sites and stuff, and you know, comments from friends on Facebook, and one in particular, and you know, I don't want him to think that I'm being a dickhead because he's a very intelligent guy and he makes valid, good points in wrestling and such. So he's very intelligent, and you know, and he's knowledgeable, and you know, I respect him, and he has his opinion, and you know, everybody is entitled to have their opinion. But this was just one time that I had to counteract and you know, stick my 2 cents in, and you know, and make a case and point out some illogic in some statements. And I'm going to go across the board. And it's not sent to anybody in particular, and I'm not naming out names or anybody, because there's a multitude of people on wrestling sites that are making these comments about TNA. So it's just generalized. I'm not picking out one little individual, but I just wanted to make sure if this one individual is watching the show, it's not directed at him, and I do truly respect his opinion because he's very intelligent and he's very knowledgeable about wrestling, and you know, and he's entitled to his opinion. Okay. But here's the thing, okay? Everybody wants to bitch about TNA, oh, how they're going downhill, how they're going to be out of business. They bitch about Dixie Carter, how she's killing the business, and such. So, but let me get this out. TNA, the product has been good. They have been good. You know, they were good toward their end at Spike TV. They've been good since their run on Destination America. Overall, they've had solid Impact Wrestling throughout their run on Destination America. Their highest rated show on Destination America. They have quality wrestling. They have quality storylines. They have character development. Terry Terrell is took the ball and ran with her heel turn. Eric Young has become the top heel of the company. We've had great wrestling throughout everything. Kurt Angle, yes, he may be old, but he can still wrestle and gets the job done, and he puts on great quality matches. We've probably got some greatest wrestlers in the company. Austin Aries, Bobby Roode, Cowboy James Storm, Eric Young. And in the women, you've got Gail Kim, Madison Rayne, Angelina Love. You've got Awesome Kong. So you've got a great roster. They're putting out great product right now. You know, and this thing about Destination America having buyer's remorse, let me just say this, okay? To expect you to have, for TNA to have the same number of viewers that they had when they were on Spike TV is ludicrous, considering the fact that Destination America is available in fewer markets than Spike TV was. So I call bullshit on buyer's remorse. Okay? How can you have buyer's remorse when TNA is your top rated show? Okay? You know, it's not TNA's fault that you can't sell advertisers. This is your #1 show and you can't sell advertisers. Destination America, that's on you, not TNA's. Don't put the blame on TNA on that one. Okay? Calling bullshit on that. So, okay, tell your advertiser or your salespeople to get off their asses, go out there and sell. Make the points that, hey, there's people watching. Here's your demographic. These are the people watching. This is who you need to target. And, you know, it's just bullshit. You know, it's bullshit. You know, TNA is promoting your other shows on the network. You need to stay and keep promoting them too, okay? So, and to all the ones who want to say TNA is going downhill, they're death run and blah, blah, blah. My question to you is, when's the last time you watched Impact Wrestling? Okay, have you watched it in the past few weeks? All right? If you say no, here's what I got to say. Get on YouTube. If you don't have Destination America, watch an episode. If you've got Destination America, watch an episode. If you're not going to watch an episode and see for yourself that the product's improved, do me a favor and shut the fuck up, okay? Pardon my French, I'm just telling it like it is, okay? To watch something and then bitch about it is one thing, but to never seen it and bitch about it is another, okay? So, I'll get off my soapbox. But anyway, I'm looking forward to TNA starting back up tours. Hopefully they're going to start up mid-summer, late summer, and I hope they do. TNA house shows compared to WWE house shows, you get the same quality wrestling, but the fan experience in TNA is a lot better and it's more affordable than what you get in the WWE. So I'm looking forward to that. Got some guys I've never seen before wrestle that I love to see. I've never seen Drew Galloway wrestle before. Taryn Terrell, I've never got to see her wrestle. The Dollhouse, Marti Bell and Jade, a.k.a. Mia Yim. I've never seen them wrestle before. You've got, believe it or not, I have never seen Bram wrestle. So that would be kind of cool to see him wrestle. I have never gotten to see the Wolves wrestle. That would be an awesome thing to see there. Never seen Bobby Lashley wrestle. So that would be a kind of cool thing to see too. So anyway, that's it for this week's edition of Making an Impact. I've been your host, Simply Sensational Billy James. And just once again a reminder, there will be no Impact Wrestling next week. But in its place will be a special edition of Pipe Bomb. So please check that out. Also, don't forget to check out the Wrestling Debates on every Tuesday night. Myself, my good buddy John P. Mayer, and myself, along with Sean Shark Williams, Andrew B., Jaime, Stat Boy, Michelle. If I left anybody out, I do apologize. But we're on there every week. We talk about TNA, WWE, Lucha Underground, Ring of Honor. We talk about it all. And we'll probably talk about some other stuff too, so you never know. So that's Tuesday nights, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, brought to you by the Nerdport Network on Blog Talk Radio, so check it out. So I will see you next week for a special edition of Pipe Bomb. Once again, I've been your host, Simply Sensational Billy James. Peace.